Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the. Hang on, my TV's still on. To the LFC transfer room with myself, Louis Fell, joined today by James, Drew, and Kev. And I've got my microphone here as well. And we are here for the match preview of Rangers versus Liverpool. Massive feeling of deja vu off the back of a terrible result. We now go on a midweek journey to face Rangers in the Champions League. So we'll get into what's similar and what's different about these two games and what we can expect. But some other breaking news coming out as well. Of course, this whole Mbappe stuff starting up again. We won't spend too long on it because, it's early days in this whole new rumor mill around Mbappe. Whether it's what's true and what's not, we don't know. And this is a match preview as well, so we'll try and keep it a bit more focused on that. More importantly, a couple of injury updates. We knew about Luis Diaz being out for up to 10 weeks, not coming back until after the World Cup. But we can now get confirmation that Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joel Matip are rumoured to be out for about 2-ish weeks as well. Whether that's an overestimate or an underestimate, we'll wait and see. But that means it's pretty much a certainty now that both of them will miss the Manchester City game and, of course, the game tomorrow as well. So plenty to talk about there. But we'll start off by going round to all the lovely chaps. James, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm all right today. I recently, today I got a brand new iPhone delivered. Check me out. Yep, I'm flush. And so I was transferring from one to the other, and it takes 3 hours to transfer data from one phone to another. It's utterly ridiculous. So I nearly completely missed this stream because I don't have access to anything. And I'm sat there going, oh, shit, I need to check my phone. Oh, no, I don't have it. So apart from the stress of transferring a phone, which broke 3 times, because you've got to update all the phones up to then, oh, God. Apart from that, I'm good.
Which phone did you get?
iPhone 14 Max.
Oh, same. Phone buddies. Drew, how are you doing?
I mean, I'm a technological Luddite, so still rocking old iPhones and getting through on that, but no problems above my head here. I'm just trying to kind of forget the past week at Arsenal's one of my least favorite teams. But I think at this point we've heard we need to go again, do better too many times. So let's just focus on the next game and ignore the past and just build from here.
And Kev, finally, how are you doing?
No first world problems here in my household. Struggling as it is with candlelights and, trying to get coal out of the way for the kids as Christmas presents. No, all good, mate. All good. Had a week off with sick, so I'm back on the mend, as they say. So how are you anyway, Louis? Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm doing very well. We've been on stream for 3 minutes and we've already pissed somebody off by our phone chatter, apparently. So farewell. Take care. But good evening, Hyla. Good evening, BHM. Hope you are, everybody who's joining as well, hope you're doing well. Plenty to get into. So please do get your thoughts in the live chat as we go. And remember to like and subscribe to the channel as well. I had it all here, but I've lost it again now. Let's just pull up all of this Mbappe news. It's all kind of developed and snowballed quite quickly. But if we go from a Fabrizio Romano, if we go through his Twitter very quickly, the story coming out is that Kylian Mbappe is not happy with Paris Saint-Germain as the current situation is really tense, alluding to a situation between him and the board. He wants to leave the club as soon as possible. Paris Saint-Germain feel he's really putting pressure on the club, but they have no intention to sell him in January. That was what was coming out in the afternoon. But apart from that, the PSG director has then come out before their game tonight and said, Mbappe has never told me anything about leaving in January. I deny this information. So a typical mess, it appears, at PSG. First, they give him apparently complete control of most things club-wise. And 2 months in, even that's not good enough for him, or they haven't delivered on it. The talk is that Real Madrid aren't interested in him for some reason, or he's not in their plans at least. And as usual, the journalists have baited us hook, line and sinker that one of the only places he would consider going is Liverpool Football Club. Now, James, does this make a lick of sense for you from our perspective and from Mbappe's perspective?
So first and foremost, let's be honest. You PSG are going to offer him the sun. Sign the contract. Oh, you want control of everything? Yeah, we'll give you control of everything. Oh, you want everyone to name their firstborn sons Killian? Oh, yeah, we'll name all our firstborn sons Killian. Just sign the contract, because the second he signs the contract, his value goes from 0 to £250 million. So is it surprising that PSG directors have gone back on some things that haven't been written in stone? No. Does that mean that he's going to be up for sale and Liverpool are going to spend £250 million to sign Kylian Mbappe because he's a bit miffed that suddenly someone's had a child and it's not called Kylian? No. It's all just power, pantomime, and once again using Liverpool's name, which is great that we're getting dragged into it, to just fire up frenzy more, because obviously Liverpool fans want Mbappe. We know Klopp wants Mbappe, but it's just not going to happen. Not now a contract signed. It's just impossible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only going to ask all of you one question about it, and then we'll keep it moving, because at this point, as you've said, it just feels like we have just been dragged into this to create a headline. But Drew, do we have a reason to get a bit excited? Is this a reason to stir up the pot again, or should we just be ignoring this and letting it play out?
I think we should ignore it and let it play out. There just doesn't seem to be any feasibility that we'd spend that money to get him in and then put that much money on his wages. It's far above our structure. And honestly, with all the dynamic around it, I trust Klopp to be able to be the one person to handle his ego. But I'd rather Chelsea take the gamble and then we could get Nkunku or something like that.
I think Drew's just gone full robot.
Yeah, he gone a little bit weird there, Drew, as he might just be worth trying to rejoin and see if it's a little bit better for you, mate. Get rid of him. Kev, I'll let you take over on that one. I mean, I don't really know what else to say on this. Is there much?
There's not much to ask, Louis. I think James has covered it all and has took everything I would have said. So there's nothing else to add. Some in our fan base will get delighted with it. Some will start thinking that there's a swap deal on with Salah. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows if it's just as James said, it's a power. It's a power fight at PSG. Has it got any legs? We'll see in January. But at the minute, it's just not even worth looking at, to be honest, mate. What's your thoughts? Do you think the same, or?
You just, as soon as Mbappe and Liverpool get mentioned, there's something within you that just thinks, oh, but what if it is real, though?
I know.
But hey, we'll let it lie for now and see what happens. Welcome back, Drew. Hopefully it's all good now. Let's move on. Focus a little bit more on this game, or the context around this game, at least, with that injury news, which is, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold, who picked up an injury, and Joel Matip, both rumoured to be out for about 2 weeks, meaning they will miss tomorrow and they will miss Man City. Now, I think I put a poll out on our community tab. If you still want to go there and get your vote in, I'll read out the results in a moment. But in terms of this right-back position, I mean, Trent hasn't been having his best spells anyway this year. But the question is, and I think this is maybe harder to answer than you think once you start to look at it, but who should play at right back tomorrow, let alone against Man City? I think that's a very tough question. But tomorrow, who do we put out to face against Rangers, James?
For me, it's Joe Gomez, because we need to get him ready for the Man City match. He's got the pace. He's more defensive orientated. So we know where Haaland likes to play. Haaland likes to play on the back post. So one half that's going to be on Costas. The other half that's going to be on Gomez and probably Canate. So for me, it would be Joe Gomez making it more defensive. This 4-2-4 that we've been playing really hasn't been bringing the right backs to the byline anyway. It's just been letting the 4 attackers attack. So really, it just gives us a solid foundation defensively. I know it's Rangers and you could probably throw a more attacking option on there, but Gomez had a good second half against Martinelli, who I'm fuming he's in negotiations with Arsenal about a new contract, because I would have him every day of the week. But yeah, for me, it has to be Joe Gomez. I know Fabinho's probably a sensible option as well, but Gomez for me.
Yeah, Drew, what do you think on that one in terms of these injuries? And yeah, we've got Rangers tomorrow. Last week, it was kind of an experimental game to try out that new formation. Is it maybe a chance to experiment with who you would play against Man City?
I hope you can hear me and I'm getting through well, but
yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I'm along the same similar thoughts as James, but I'm also worried about a potential injury crisis. Like if we start Konate at center back and Gomez at right back, and one or both pick up an injury, God forbid, then we have another center back crisis. Fabinho, right back, could be an option. But then midfield, same. If you have Thiago and Henderson, we thought Thiago had a little niggle the other weekend. We're just kind of bare bones at the moment. And it's at the point where I'd be considering throwing in someone like Ramsey if he's available. But at the same time, we need to get through Champions League. And this is a chance. Like, we should not mess up this opportunity to pick up 3 points against Rangers. So that being said, I'd start our strongest lineup and go from there, hopefully get the job done early and make changes after we're in a comfortable position. So Gomez right back, Konate center back.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, I think Drew makes a good point there about an injury crisis. I mean, but from a manager's perspective, I guess you can never go into picking a starting 11 thinking, oh, but what if X and Y get injured? Because at some point you start to think, well, what if every single player gets injured? Then what do I do? And you kind of, trick yourself into an uncomfortable situation. But given the players at our disposal and what we know about their injury records, there is a point to be made that, can you play all 3 of your fit senior centre-backs? I won't count Nat Phillips because I still see him as kind of the young guy or the inexperienced guy. Is that realistic for us to do, to have all 3 of them playing in a back 4? Or do we have to come to terms with the fact that maybe James Milner has to start there, or Fabinho has to be dragged back there, or Calvin Ramsey gets an introduction of fire? I don't know. What are you thinking?
My initial thought is to go with what the lads have said and playing Gomez. Now, the problem with what we've got at the minute, as you said, is we could have a situation that's going to be worse than 2021 season, where not only have you got issues at centre half and in the back 4, but you've also got issues in midfield still. A frailty, an aging team, lack of performance, not looking great. I agree with what you've just said though, because I was thinking about this, and I think he may go with what we did against City at home last season, which is play Milner at right back, which I don't think is the right option to be doing. I also agree with Drew in the fact that we can't go to Rangers tomorrow and start experimenting another back 4 formation and changing around. I think we go with our strongest 11, and hopefully by half time we're 2-3-0 up and we can start making changes. Then you bring that Phillips on and bring him on for the second half. We have 5 substitutions, so there should be options tomorrow to be able to freshen it up and keep us in the game as much as what we expect us to do, especially after our performance and dominance last week. I don't see any difference, to be honest. City, I think, in light of who we're playing, is the reason why we're all a little bit, we are susceptible of playing do we go with our strongest 11 tomorrow because of who we're playing on Saturday? Or something? Would that have changed if it was, I don't know, Brighton or Wolves, a Palace at home? Do we still talk as this as an issue? I think it's because of who we're playing and how good Haaland has been that we have to play with our starting 11. We've got injuries in that area in our back 4 as well as in midfield. we are on our bones, as Drew said. But I would be playing our strongest 11. And it's not a time to be thinking about what if and what this could be, because we can all go into paranoia world. We've seen that in Twitter all week. We're being dissected everywhere, all over the place, and it's not as bad as what people think. We're only, if you take a step back, we're only 10 games in, 8 games into a season, so it's still, we can still achieve what we want to achieve, and it's too early to start getting carried away with it all. But I would be starting Gomez myself personally, and going with Kanate as well in the back four.
Well, that's interesting, and you've all kind of touched upon it, you as well, James. Especially at right back, playing Gomez tomorrow so that we can get him ready for Man City. So, of course, we play on the Wednesday, and then our game's not till Sunday. So how far does that go for you, James? Do you think it's kind of as much as we can look to play the team we're going to use against Man City, get them all maybe a confidence booster with the win against Rangers, get them all again, used to playing with each other, whatever that means, or beyond right back, a few changes here and there, players you probably won't expect to see against Man City?
Well, we've got, first thing to note is Man City are resting players. They're not treating Liverpool like we're out of form. As much as Liverpool, if you go on Liverpool Twitter, suddenly, we're the worst team in history, and there's Klopp out, and there's all sorts of chaos everywhere that you can read, and half of it's Liverpool fans, half of it's other fans that have changed the profile to a Liverpool picture just so they can create chaos. Man City still know that this is Liverpool who got to 3 cup finals and were 1 point off the championship, with minus Mane and Nunes. You play the starting 11 that you're going to play against City. You give them a game together. You don't play with fear, by going, we can't play this person in case he gets injured and stuff like that. All that is just playing with fear of what could happen. If someone's not 100%, yeah, don't play them. But if everyone's 100%, you play them at full force, you get them back in the zone, and then you hit City at full force. None of this, be worried if this happens or that happens, or all that just needs to go out the window, because what we've got to do right now is get our best players to get our season back on track by the scruff of its neck and fight through some difficult fixtures until that confidence comes back. That's my plain take on it.
Thank you to everybody who is getting involved in the live chat. Please do like the video. Please subscribe as well. If we go through a few of the comments, especially about what we've just been talking about, Ramsey would be perfect against Rangers. He came from Aberdeen, who played Rangers twice a year in the SPL. And he'll give us a chance to see how he is. If it goes to pot, put Gomez in. BH says, I agree, Ramsey needs game time. Hyla says, spank me and call me Charlie if Gomez plays right back tomorrow, or doesn't. I'm not quite sure what that meant. BH says, why did we buy Ramsey if he isn't getting game time when he's fit? Well, he's only just become fit again, so let's not jump on that straight away. But yeah, in terms of the context of this game, and I said at the beginning of the stream, this time last week we were in a similar position, disappointing result against Brighton. Coming into this game, hoping to see some sort of a change. Last week we got it with a new formation, which everyone was very excited about. Now, bad result against Arsenal, and that similar feeling of needing some kind of change, whether that's personnel-wise, coaching-wise, tactics-wise, whatever. Drew, where do we go from here? Because I think I was on the post-match reaction, and I did a show yesterday. So everybody who's watching has heard a lot about my opinion on all of this. But from the Arsenal game, the season in general, what's next for us, and what can this game be a chance to do or to see?
I think just building the platform from where we are. I think everyone has these expectations of what we should be doing, considering, what we've done the past 5 years. But I remind, when we got the center back crisis, it became almost felt like a unified front where we were like, let's just get top 4, get the job done, and then we can move on from there. I think this time it's a bit of mismanagement in who we brought in from the summer in terms of midfield depth, but there are a lot of injuries at the start of the season. It hasn't gone our way. And again, we're still 8 games into the Premier League season. Like, there's still everything to play for. Top 4 should be first priority in the league. And yeah, I don't get like when it's like stuff goes wrong sometimes and you have to deal with it. You don't just throw everything out and say it's all a wash. I think we need to get behind the team, really give Klopp the chance to get a hold of the reins and move forward. Like this season's unlike any other season we've seen with the World Cup coming in the winter. So there's just so many just curveballs coming at us this year that we really just need to back the team and build a platform from here. So I'll back what James said, like get the team in. The consistency I think is most important. We've been chopping and changing every week. So wherever we are right now, build from there. Like get the lads playing together, get the position sorted out. A win against Rangers is a must. It's the almost confident game I'm seeing just from the quality of Rangers. They're just so poor compared to, the Premier League quality. I know they're at home at the Ibrox. That's a huge stadium, a huge boost. But we've also seen that at the Champions League with Celtic and Rangers. It's like, yeah, it's a great atmosphere and it's, world famous, but the quality of the team on the pitch is what matters at the end of the day. So we should get it over the line. But we really just need to build a platform, a base of belief, and get behind the team and see where it goes from there. Treat it one game at a time. As cheesy as that is, that's what we need to do.
Albert, thank you for getting involved. Yeah, Ramsey wasn't seen in training today, actually. I forgot about that. So potentially he's picked up something again. Who knows? I'm sure we'll get an update on that. But Kev, I want to just briefly talk about the man himself, Jurgen Klopp, cutting a rightfully so frustrated figure recently. And this has only just come out, so I don't expect you to have seen this. But Klopp, in response to being told that former LFC midfielder Didi Harman says they need a spark, Klopp replied, "Oh, great, a fantastic source, well respected everywhere. Didi Harman doesn't deserve for his phrase to be used. Ask your own question." So openly mocking Didi Harman, who I think is, I don't know what happened to the guy. I don't know why he's like got it out for us so badly recently, or the last few years. But what do you make of all of this by Klopp? Is it literally just, of course, we're not doing very well, he's upset? Or do you think there's some deeper rooted frustration there?
There probably is. Do you know what I mean? He's probably wished he would have gambled a little bit more, which he mentioned at the start of the season during the transfer window. It's evident that what's happened this season is a replica and probably the same as what he was going through at Dortmund. And it's similar to that. He hasn't provided a new trend. He hasn't refreshed the team as much as what we should have, that we expected as fans. And he probably would admit to that with hindsight. However, we are in this situation, and this is what he's getting paid the big bucks for. He has to find a way and a way of getting us back on track. And there's no one better. I wouldn't have anyone else in this situation other than Klopp, because I think he can find a way out of it, as well as Linda's as well. So it's easy to turn around and say, well, it's all Klopp's fault. It's part is the decisions he's made, but you've got to blame the players. You know what I mean? The players haven't performed the way that we were expecting. For whatever reason, is there a hangover from last season still? There's loads of interesting. We're not going to get to the actual nit and grit of the actual problem that's there at the minute, but something's not right, and it doesn't feel right at the minute. And everyone seems to think, well, if Manny was there, we'd be better. No, I disagree with that. I think we'd still be evidently the same, and we would still be having the frustrations that we are now, that we are seeing across the whole of our social media at the minute. It's you could say it's worrying, but I'm confident that Klopp can turn it around. And as Drew and James quite rightly say, it's got to be one game at a time. We've got to play it, and we've got to get back to play. Get back to basics. Just get it back to basics. Let's get back to defending well. Let's get back to starting well. Let's treat it the first 10 minutes. Let's try and dominate the first 10 minutes of the game. We haven't done that this season. We've allowed teams to come on to us, and we haven't been able. And we've treated the ball like a hot cake at times, and no one's actually been able to sit around and go, let's just chill. Let's go back to what we know best. We're sitting a yard or two deeper than what we normally are. Is that because of our age? Is that because of... There's loads of things, that analysis that Klopp has is at his disposal, and there's no one better to find a way out of it. Now we've got a formation change. It looks as though it can do as well. Just got to go with it. There's going to be injuries on the way. We're not going to be the only team that's going to have injuries this season. As Drew's quite rightly said, you've got a World Cup when players are peak. You get into the situation now where their focus is more on getting into that World Cup squad than actually playing and going. So 50-50 challenges in the next couple of weeks, you're going to start seeing a lot of them maybe getting injured through them because they're not going in as hard as what they normally are. It's a compact season. It's similar to the 2021 season in a way, in that it's very small areas, and you've got a game every week, 2 games a week at the minute. Do you know what I mean? Till the World Cup. But I'm quite happy with the man who's there in charge and his coaching staff to get it right for me. Sorry, I went on a bit there.
No. All very, very good points, and lots of interaction in the live chat as well. A lot of people agreeing with you and adding points to that. But James, the biggest takeaway from the last game against Rangers was, of course, that new formation. I wanted to point this out yesterday, not to come across like, oh, I told you. But I had my own doubts about how effective a 4-4-2 could be against teams like Arsenal, like Man City, who are so good at the moment. Maybe that was a part of why we lost. Maybe you've got a different take on it. But what do we do now? Because Klopp has tried to some extent, shake things up to get us moving again. It worked against Rangers. Now we've lost again against Arsenal. Kind of in an awkward position now. Does he stick with the new formation? Do we drop back to the old one and then potentially see that struggle again? Are we in a bit of a sticky one with this one in terms of what we do next?
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's about formations at all. I think it's all to do with psychology. Yes, I think Mane could have improved. You know, Mane's a top 5 in the world player. If he was in our starting 11, he would have done something probably 5-10% better than maybe Diaz or Firmino. But that's 5-10% of something where we're running 10k less than the other team in a total. So there's a complete and utter lack of aggression, belief, and structure in what we're doing. And I don't think it's because they're not fit enough. I don't think it's because they don't have the ability. I actually think they're in a bad headspace. And I think we need to get a sports psychologist in our club and speak to everyone from Klopp, especially Trent. Trent should be locked in a room with a psychologist for a couple of weeks while he's injured, because it's all in his head what's going wrong with Trent. Why he tried to close down when Henderson blocked off the space and stuff like that. It's just bad decisions, and it's because all the hate on this team has got in their heads. Everything negative. This is what happens. Like, look at West Ham. West Ham notoriously would do average, couple of bad results. Fans would get on their back. They'd do really bad. COVID happened. No fans in the stadium. West Ham suddenly do brilliant. Fans come back. Everything's great. Everyone's in a good mood. Everything's good. Couple of bad starts of this season. Fans are getting on them again. They're not doing as well. Everything, people think fans don't matter, but we really do. And we really do have an impact. Like, there will be Liverpool players reading our hated Twitter, our hated Instagram, our hating TikToks. You're telling me Trent hasn't seen all the hate and his friends haven't seen all the hate he's getting and not talk to him about it? And just go, oh, well, we won't tell him our little secret. All the media. It's all psychology at the moment, because I'll tell you what, when we actually start firing again and Klopp gets back on form and is jovial and is happy and the team are happy, that extra 10k from the team will happen. And suddenly we'll start dominating, we'll start closing down and being aggressive, and we'll start winning. But to say we should have signed more, yes, we should have signed more, but it is still the same team that got to 3 major finals and lost the league by a point. This is not a team that suddenly turns to low bottom half of the table. Sorry, it doesn't. So the only thing that can change is your psychology. That's it. And it's really complicated. It's really hard to understand, but mental health is very important. And that's why I think that's the main thing that we need to fix.
Now, lots of great points there. If you have anything to say, if you agree or disagree, please do get that in the live chat and we'll be sure to read it out. Before we come back to that, though, because I do want to talk about some of the things you said. Albert, thank you again for getting involved. Oh, thank you for the super, well, just the donation. Thank you very much, Albert. Much appreciated. Goes straight back into the channel and our content. So thank you again. But earlier he said, going back to Kev, I've just had to cover your faces. Sorry about that. Says, our problem is not just the sale of Mane, but a facet of our problems. Some of us want to wish it away. Louis said he can't be convinced. We know we miss, but we know we miss his on and off the ball movement. Yeah, so I said that yesterday. We were talking about it a lot in the chat room. I said, I think we got rid of him at just the right time. Whilst his stock was still high, whilst he was still capable of playing to what we know to be close to his very best. And Drew, I'll kind of direct what I'm saying towards you to answer on this one. But I feel like, as James said, maybe he could have provided one or two moments of magic so far this season. It would have got us an extra point, got us over the line for a victory in a game. But generally speaking, I think he would have been just as affected as everybody else. I don't think Mane had any special qualities, especially given where his ability seemed to be heading, that would have made him stand out, especially given the way Salah's performed, the way Trent's performed. Like, we've got world-class, even Van Dijk, we've got world-class players in our team who are not playing anywhere near their best at the moment. And nothing about Sadio Mane's personality or his traits, for me, suggested that he would be that one player who could, drag us out of those sort of things. But what do you think? Should we have kept Mane, or was it the right time?
I think with the overall transition of the squad, one of the front three had to leave: Salah, Firmino, or Mane, and Mane seemed like he wanted to go. As far as affecting the team, tail end of last season, I think we got a lot of utility off of moving him up top, but we still were going behind almost every single game. Like, we were down 1-0 and had to fight back to get wins in the final stages of the season, and that was where the energy started to drop. And then feels like it just was like, a gut shot when we lost the league on the last day and then lost the Champions League the following weekend. It's, as much as they said, oh, we've moved on from them, or, it's not that effective, I back James on what he said about the psychology of the team. I think it's the fact that there's so many things wrong that it's not just like one pinpoint you can pinpoint and fix it. It's just like the energy levels of the team are low, reflected in the pressing stats. You see the heads drop on the field. It looks like we have no leaders in our team at the moment. It just looks like we're going through a funk, and you really just need to build together and go again. But I think, like, for me, like, when you get Haaland into the Dortmund team, it's like he was a superstar in that team, but they still didn't push the Bundesliga. There were too many problems outside of that. So I don't think it's down to like one player in a dysfunctional team raising everyone up for Mane. I don't think you can do that on your own with an entire team dysfunctioning. But we really do need to get behind the team and really go for the best. Anyone who's saying like Klopp out at this point, I just don't understand that mentality. I understand the frustration, but you got to give him supporting. Like, just, he came in saying we need to change doubters to believers, and look what he did with that. I think that's an entire mentality change, and I think that was in his first press conference too, where he's like, that's the mentality change that he wants. That was the first thing he looked to change in the club, and I think we need it. Kev talked about it, getting back to basics, defending first, linking up play, like just back to basics in that on the field. And then James, with the psychology side, backing the team and getting the help in that we need on that side. I think it just comes back to that, to like just ground level support moving forward. And I don't think it's one player fixes it.
Yeah, again, lots of good points today. It's been a really good preview, actually. But sort of rounding it out, because we have been going for over half an hour, which is sort of how long these previews tend to be. Focusing on the game, Kev, are there any particular changes that you're looking to see, or that you would personally make to the starting 11, outside of anything that we could expect? I mean, Ramsey's probably injured, but we've talked about the right backs as well. But the midfield, what do we bring back? Do we bring Fabinho back? Take out Henderson? Do you think we go back to a 3 in the middle? What are your thoughts there?
If you're going 3, you got to put Jake Spearing in there. No, what I would normally do is I'd keep it as it is. I'd be swapping and changing between Endo and Fabinho at the minute, and trying to mix them up a bit. Not one of them have actually started that well this season. Not one of them you could actually put your name on and go, right, well, I want him to definitely start, because there's flaws with both of them at the minute. I think the only starter that does play is Thiago, but we all know how much of a quaver he is. So I'll be saying 10 Hail Marys tonight and one half harder that, and a glory to be that he doesn't get injured. But I would stick with what we did at Arsenal and stick with that formation for the time being until everyone's fit and everyone's back in the fold, and then we possibly go back to a 4-3-3. But at the minute, I'd stick with the 4-2-4 at the minute, and I'd probably go with Fabinho alongside Thiago myself.
Did you see that? Sorry, just with you mentioning Arsenal, Kev, you see that the reason Saka didn't get called offside is because it malfunctioned. Like one of the cameras,
like Saka wasn't in the frame or something.
Yeah, well, the camera that was meant to catch him malfunctioned, so they couldn't get it.
Unbelievable.
I'm sorry, but the Arsenal game, I don't think we deserve to win it, but there's a very good rationale that we should draw the game.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. I'm sorry we're going back on a game that's gone, but no, I actually do think that the certain decisions went against us, and if those decisions went our way, we would have drawn that game. I think no team deserves to win the game. I think overall, Liverpool were better in the first half. They were better in the second half. That was it, equal, and it was a great game if you were a neutral. More frustrating for us if you're a Liverpool fan. Happy and delighted with Arsenal if you're an Arsenal fan. But for me, it was a draw, and we should have had a penalty. I don't care what anyone says. That should have been a penalty straight away. Myself personally, and theirs was
a penalty. He had his back to him.
I know exactly. Exactly.
But I agree with Gary though. Stefan Bajcetic should get a run out. Actually, that would be for me instead of
now. I agree that's probably the only shout I would actually say that it deserves to be given a little run in the team. I think it's time to see what he can actually do and see what fruits he can actually bring into this team, because we do need someone with a bit of legs in there and not relying on the likes of Fabinho and Hendo who have been faultless for us. But we need. I say again, we've got young players there. We need to be utilising those players and bringing them in. Bajcetic for me, I'd love him to get a start. I know we won't, but I'd like to see him get a few minutes if possible. But no, great shout that, James.
I was Gary. Gary.
Gary even.
King Gary. Sorry. Let's round off with some score predictions tomorrow. I feel like there's a strange feeling going into this game that it's obviously match day 4 of the Champions League, a must win. Really, with the start we had against Napoli, but it is really the precursor to a game that I think a lot of us are probably a little bit scared of coming on Sunday, and even the optimist amongst us are a bit about how this could go.
We've beaten once,
yeah. But let's start with you, James. What's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I think it'll be a tough 3-1, because if Rangers lose this, they're out. They're done mathematically. So I think it'll be a tough 3-1, probably a 2-1 with a goal in the last 15 minutes. So I'll go 3-1.
Yeah, and being away from home as well, crowd will be up for it. Bit of confidence lacking in our players. Yes, so it could be a very much tighter game than it was at Anfield, I think. Drew, what about you?
I want us to just run it back 2-0. Hard fought 2-0, but That should do it for me.
And Kev, what about you?
Same as Drew. I have 4-2-0.
The confidence that everyone still has in us getting clean sheets. Every week I see so many like, oh yeah, 2-0.
Not in the Premier League. You only have to look at my fantasy league.
It's
There's no
Alfredo
Liverpool players in
Morel's
it.
lack of pace, isn't it? He doesn't have any pace,
No.
so we can
Yeah,
play the
yeah.
high line.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the best things about our game last week was we saw like I can't remember who his partner was. But we saw Van Dijk and was it Matip coming like up to the Rangers penalty area in just normal open play, just to shut down, to make interceptions, etc. And that is the best of what the Liverpool high line can do. But we just haven't found a way to translate that into the Premier League yet. But a few other
I think
predictions.
one thing is, though, Lewis.
Yeah, go on.
Lou, the only thing is the way they ended the game is probably how they're going to start the game, because they started getting into it with the wingers that they had and how fast and how much pace that Aribo's got as well. I think that's how they start tomorrow, a bit fast pace with the team, with the fans behind them. I think that's how you'll see them tomorrow. Sorry to butt in, by the way.
Quick question, an open floor to answer this. If Rangers score first, do we win?
Yes, we let everyone score first. That's how we've played this season. Apart from Rangers in the last game, everyone else has scored first. It's like we've gone, go on, we'll give you a goal, and then we'll see if we can beat you.
All right, I like the confidence.
It's not confidence. Annoyance.
Thank you to everybody who's been watching. Sorry for anybody who tuned in late, but do feel free to go back. But of course, we are live every night at 7:30. Funnily enough, tomorrow night we'll be live at 7:30 as well for the start of the watch along for the Rangers Liverpool game. Do make sure to join us for that, for full match commentary all the way through, and then post match reaction immediately after. But apart from that, every single night 7:30 on the LFC transfer room. Make sure to like the video if you haven't done so already, and if you are new, please do subscribe as well. We're very, very close to 4,400 subscribers. So please do subscribe and help us get to that lovely round total. Apart from that, James, Drew, and Kev, and everybody watching, thank you very much for getting involved. And we will see you in the next stream. Take care.